There is immense power in reclaiming your energy. When you step away from the cycles of overgiving and chasing, something remarkable happens. The dynamics shift, and those who once seemed distant are drawn back to you like a magnet. This is particularly true for those with avoidant tendencies who struggle with connection but secretly yearn for it. Today, we will explore why avoidants often become addicted to your presence after you implement no contact, and how this empowers you to honor your worth. When you step away from a relationship, something profound begins to happen. Your absence speaks volumes in ways that words never could. It is a quiet, powerful reminder of your worth, and it often forces others to see what they have lost. For those with avoidant tendencies, this realization can be particularly impactful. These individuals often struggle with closeness, fearing the vulnerability it brings. But when you remove yourself from their reach, it sets in motion a chain of introspection and recognition that often transforms their perception of you. Absence is not just about the physical distance, it's about withdrawing your emotional energy. Think about how much time and effort you put into being there for someone, offering your care, support, and understanding. These gestures often become so consistent that they blend into the background of their life, much like the air they breathe. It's only when that air is gone that they realize how vital it was. In relationships, we sometimes overextend ourselves, giving so much that our value becomes overlooked or underappreciated. Stepping away disrupts this pattern. It is a bold declaration of your boundaries, a silent but clear message that your love and attention are not infinite resources to be taken for granted. For someone with avoidant tendencies, your presence may have felt overwhelming or even stifling at times. Avoidants have a natural inclination to distance themselves when relationships start to feel too intense. This isn't necessarily because they don't care, it's often because they fear being consumed by the closeness or losing their sense of independence. Ironically, your absence does the opposite of what they might have expected. Rather than feeling relieved by your departure, they are left to grapple with the emptiness that follows. The things they dismissed or avoided in the past, your kindness, your stability, your loyalty, suddenly come into sharp focus. Absence creates a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the human heart. When you step away, it allows the other person to experience the space you once filled. It forces them to sit with their thoughts and feelings without the distractions of your presence to mask their emotions. For an avoidant, this can be a deeply unsettling yet transformative experience. They may find themselves thinking about you more than ever before, replaying moments of connection in their mind and realizing how much those moments meant. Your absence also shifts the power dynamics in the relationship. When you are constantly available, you unconsciously signal that the other person has control over your emotions and energy. But when you take a step back, you reclaim that control. This shift in energy is palpable. It forces the avoidant to see you not as someone who is always there, but as someone who has the strength and self-respect to walk away when necessary. This newfound respect often translates into a deeper appreciation for who you are and what you bring to the table. Moreover, absence provides clarity not just for them, but for you as well. In stepping back, you allow yourself to reflect on what you truly want and deserve in a relationship. This clarity radiates from you, even if you are not in direct contact with the other person. People can sense when someone has stepped into their power, and this energy is magnetic. The avoidant, who may have taken your efforts for granted, begins to feel the weight of your absence more acutely as they recognize the strength it took for you to step away. There's also an element of mystery that absence introduces. When you are no longer readily available, the avoidant begins to wonder what you are doing, how you are feeling, and whether you are moving on without them. This curiosity can be a powerful motivator, sparking a renewed interest in you. It's not about playing games, it's about creating a natural dynamic where your worth is evident without needing to prove it. Ultimately, your absence magnifies your value because it reminds the avoidant of what they had and what they might lose forever. It compels them to confront their fears and insecurities and to recognize the unique role you played in their life. For some, this realization is enough to spark a desire to reconnect, not out of convenience, but out of genuine appreciation. For others, it may serve as a lesson they carry forward, even if they don't act on it. Regardless of their response, the power of your absence lies in what it does for you. It reinforces your belief in your worth and your commitment to nurturing relationships that honor and respect you. You are not diminished by stepping back, you are elevated. And in that elevation, you become not only someone worth missing, but someone truly unforgettable. When you step back from a relationship with an avoidant individual, you create a powerful shift in the dynamic. Avoidants often experience deep-seated fears around intimacy, connection, and vulnerability. These fears don't necessarily stem from a lack of care, but from an inner conflict that pushes them to protect themselves. By choosing no contact or stepping away, you stop feeding those fears, allowing them to face their emotions without the pressure or distractions your presence might unintentionally create. Avoidants are often caught in a cycle of wanting closeness but fearing the demands that come with it. Your efforts to bridge the gap, reassuring them, initiating conversations, or attempting to decode their actions can feel overwhelming to them. They might perceive these gestures as an attempt to invade their emotional space, even if your intentions are purely loving. When you step back, you give them the opportunity to experience a new kind of emotional environment, one that is free from external influence. This space is essential for their growth as it forces them to look inward instead of reacting defensively to perceived external pressures. In many cases, avoidants are not fully aware of the fears driving their behavior. They may pull back when they sense closeness because it triggers a subconscious fear of being controlled, hurt, or abandoned. These fears are often rooted in past experiences and they replay in the background of their relationships. When you remain present and actively engage with them, you might unintentionally reinforce their belief that closeness leads to discomfort. By stepping away, you disrupt this pattern. You allow them to experience the absence of pressure, and this can help them recognize that intimacy doesn't always have to come with fear or loss of autonomy. Your absence removes the stimulus that keeps their defenses active. Imagine a fire that needs constant fuel to burn. If you keep adding wood, the fire remains strong. When you stop adding fuel, the fire begins to die down. Similarly, when you stop pursuing or trying to fix things, the avoidant no longer has external triggers to justify their retreat. Instead, they are left with the silence of your absence, which allows them to reflect without the noise of their own defenses. In this silence, they may begin to question their fears and reevaluate the dynamic they had with you. Stepping back also creates a sense of emotional safety for the avoidant. While it may seem counterintuitive, distance can provide them with the space they need to feel secure. When they are not being pursued or questioned, they have the freedom to explore their feelings without the fear of being overwhelmed. This process can lead them to a deeper understanding of themselves and the relationship. It is often during this time that they realize the connection they shared with you was not something to fear, but something to value. Furthermore, stepping away shifts the focus from their fears to your own emotional well-being. When you stop feeding their fears, you start nurturing yourself. You reclaim the energy you may have spent trying to soothe or fix them, and you redirect it toward your own growth and healing. This change in focus creates a healthier balance in the dynamic, even if you're no longer actively involved in their life. Your own transformation often becomes evident to them, and this can serve as a catalyst for their own introspection. Another important aspect of stepping back is that it helps avoidants confront the consequences of their behavior. When you are always available, their fears are constantly masked by the comfort of knowing you are there. But when you remove yourself, they are left to face the reality of what it feels like to lose someone who cared deeply for them. This realization can be uncomfortable but necessary for their personal growth. It forces them to acknowledge the role their fears played in creating distance and to decide whether they want to continue living in those patterns or take steps toward change. It's also worth noting that by stepping back, you demonstrate strength and boundaries. Avoidants are often drawn to people who are secure and self-assured, even if they struggle to maintain closeness. When you choose to step away rather than cling to the relationship, you send a powerful message you are not willing to compromise your self-respect or emotional health for their fears. This act of self-preservation can shift their perception of you from someone they need to keep at arm's length to someone whose value is undeniable. Ultimately, by stopping the cycle of feeding their fears, you create an environment where healing and growth become possible for both of you. The avoidant is given the chance to confront their inner conflicts without external interference, and you are free to focus on your own well-being and self-worth. Whether or not they choose to return or change, you've made the most powerful statement you can. You value yourself enough to let go. And that choice alone has the potential to transform everything. Energy is a force that transcends words, actions, and even distance. It's the invisible thread that connects us to one another, carrying our intentions, emotions, and inner states in ways that are deeply felt, even in silence. When you step back from a relationship, the energy you carry doesn't simply vanish, it continues to radiate, creating ripples that are felt by the person you've stepped away from. This is especially true in relationships with avoidant individuals where words and actions often fail to penetrate the walls they've built. But energy, subtle yet powerful, has a way of reaching where nothing else can. Every interaction we have with others leaves an imprint of our energy. When you were actively engaged with the avoidant individual offering love, seeking connection, and perhaps overextending yourself, your energy was likely focused outward. It was a constant flow of giving, an attempt to bridge the emotional gap between you and them. This kind of energy can feel overwhelming to someone who fears intimacy, even if your intentions were purely loving. However, when you step back, you stop broadcasting that energy toward them. This shift doesn't mean your energy disappears. Instead, it changes direction. It turns inward, focusing on your own well-being and healing. This shift is palpable, even if there is no direct contact. Energy is not bound by physical presence. It is felt through the connections we built, the bonds we formed, and the vibrations we emit. When you withdraw from a relationship, the person on the receiving end will feel that change. They may not be able to articulate what has shifted, but they will notice the absence of your energy. It's like stepping into a room that was once filled with music and suddenly finding it quiet. The silence speaks as loudly as the sound ever did. For an avoidant who often relies on emotional distance to feel safe, this energetic shift can be unsettling. They've grown accustomed to your presence, even if they seem to resist it. Without it, they're left to sit with their own thoughts and emotions, unbuffered by the energy you used to provide. When you step back, the energy you previously directed toward them becomes concentrated within you. This is the beginning of your personal transformation. By focusing inward, you start to rebuild your own strength, confidence, and self-worth. This change is not only empowering for you, but also magnetic to others. People are drawn to those who exude self-assurance and peace. Even if the avoidant individual is not consciously aware of it, they will feel this energetic transformation. Your silence becomes a powerful message, not one of abandonment, but of self-respect and inner growth. Energetic shifts are often more impactful than words because they bypass the mind and go straight to the heart. Words can be argued with, ignored, or misunderstood, but energy is felt on a deeper level. For someone with avoidant tendencies who may be skilled at deflecting verbal communication, the quiet power of your energy can reach them in ways that logic cannot. It speaks to their subconscious, creating a subtle but profound awareness of your absence and the changes within you. Silence also creates space for the other person to reflect. When your energy is no longer directed toward them, they are left to confront their own. They may begin to feel the weight of the energy they've carried, their fears, doubts, and insecurities. Without your presence to offset or absorb these emotions, they are forced to sit with them. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also an opportunity for growth. In this space, they may begin to realize the depth of your connection and the significance of your role in their life. Your energy, even in silence, acts as a mirror. When you focus on healing and self-love, you reflect those qualities back into the world. The avoidant individual may feel this shift and in turn be inspired to reevaluate their own behavior and choices. They may not fully understand why they feel drawn to you again or why your absence is so profound, but the energetic pull is undeniable. It is not about manipulation or control, it is about authenticity. When you radiate authenticity, it resonates with others on a soul level. Ultimately, the energy you carry is your greatest power. It speaks for you when words are not enough, and it has the capacity to transform not only your life, but also the lives of those you are connected to. By stepping back and allowing your energy to flow inward, you create a ripple effect that is felt far beyond what you can see or measure. Whether or not the avoidant individual chooses to respond to this energy is their choice, but one thing is certain: your silence is not empty. It is filled with the power of your inner light, and that light will always be felt, even across the greatest distances. In the tumultuous world of an avoidant individual, chaos often reigns beneath the surface. This chaos isn't always visible. It hides behind their calm demeanor, emotional distance, and tendency to pull away. But deep down, it's a storm of unresolved fears, conflicting desires, and unspoken insecurities. When you come into their life, bringing care, understanding, and consistency, you become a beacon of stability in their inner turbulence. It is this stability that they are drawn to, even if they can't always articulate or acknowledge it. Avoidants often struggle with vulnerability. They crave connection but fear the loss of independence or the pain that closeness might bring. This conflict creates an internal push and pull dynamic, leaving them feeling unsettled. Your steady presence in their life acts as an anchor, offering them a sense of security amidst the emotional chaos. You represent something they cannot easily create for themselves, a foundation of trust and reliability that feels safe even in their moments of retreat. When you are there for them consistently, you model what healthy connection looks like. You show them that love doesn't have to be chaotic, unpredictable, or conditional. Your stability provides a counterbalance to the uncertainty they feel within themselves. It demonstrates that relationships can be a source of peace rather than stress. This is not something they encounter often, and it creates a profound impact on their subconscious, even if they don't outwardly express it. However, this stability can sometimes go unrecognized or unappreciated while you are actively present in their life. When you consistently provide support and understanding, they may begin to take your presence for granted. The calm you bring can become part of the background, blending into their daily existence like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. It is only when you step away that the absence of your stability becomes glaringly apparent. In the void you leave behind, they are forced to face their own chaos without the grounding influence you once provided. Stepping back is not an act of punishment, but an act of self-preservation. It is a way of honoring your own need for balance and boundaries. When you withdraw your presence, the avoidant is left to confront the instability within themselves. The chaos they've grown accustomed to feels more overwhelming without the steadying force of your energy. This can lead to a period of deep reflection where they begin to see you in a new light, not just as a partner, but as a stabilizing influence they deeply value. Your absence also allows them to see the contrast between the life they have with you and the life they have without you. It creates a space for them to realize that the stability you bring is not something easily replaced. They may begin to appreciate the quiet strength you possess, the way you remained grounded even when they pulled away, and the way you held space for them without judgment. These realizations often come slowly, as they process the role you played in their life. At the same time, stepping back benefits you by giving you the opportunity to reclaim your energy and focus on yourself. Being the stabilizer in someone else's chaos can be exhausting if it's not reciprocated or acknowledged. By withdrawing, you create space for your own growth and healing. You remind yourself that your stability is a gift, one that should be shared with someone who truly values and respects it. For the avoidant, your stability becomes a point of reflection. It challenges their preconceived notions about relationships and connection. It forces them to question whether their fears are worth holding on to or if they are ready to embrace the security you offer. In many cases, they come to see that their chaos is not a burden you should have to carry alone. This can inspire them to take steps toward healing their own wounds and learning how to contribute to the stability of the relationship. Even if they don't reach out or acknowledge your impact, your stability leaves a lasting impression. It sets a standard in their mind, a benchmark for what a healthy, balanced connection can look like. Whether or not they return to you, they will carry the memory of your presence with them. Your influence may shape how they approach future relationships, helping them to see the value of stability in a chaotic world. Ultimately, your role as a stabilizer is not about fixing someone else's chaos, but about showing them what is possible when love and stability coexist. You offer them a glimpse of a life where connection doesn't have to be fraught with fear or uncertainty. And by stepping back when needed, you honor the truth that your stability is a reflection of your strength, a strength that doesn't waver, even in silence. Whether they choose to embrace it or not, your energy remains a testament to the power of love grounded in self-respect and inner peace. The law of detachment is a powerful principle that allows you to let go of control, surrender your fears, and trust the natural flow of life. It's not about giving up on your desires or relationships, but about releasing the need to cling, force, or manipulate outcomes. This law works in your favor because it aligns you with a state of inner peace and self-trust, creating a magnetic energy that draws what is meant for you without resistance. When applied to relationships, it can be transformative, especially in dynamics where emotional distance or avoidant tendencies play a role. When you practice detachment, you let go of the constant need for reassurance or validation. You stop trying to control how someone feels about you or how they respond to your presence. Instead, you shift your focus inward, trusting that everything meant for you will come in its own time and in its own way. This shift creates a profound energetic change. When you release your grip on a situation, you create space for possibilities to unfold naturally. It's in this space that growth, healing, and reconnection often occur. Detachment is not about indifference, it's about freedom. It frees you from the anxiety of needing things to happen on your timeline or in the exact way you envision. It allows you to step back and observe without becoming entangled in emotional reactions. This emotional freedom is felt by others, including those who may have distanced themselves from you. When someone senses that you are no longer clinging or seeking from them, they feel the shift. It's as though a weight has been lifted, and the dynamic between you becomes lighter and less strained. For avoidant individuals, this shift can be particularly impactful. Their fear of closeness often stems from a perception that intimacy will lead to demands or loss of independence. When you detach, you release any perceived pressure they may feel, allowing them to experience a relationship dynamic free from their usual fears. This can create an environment where they feel safer to explore their feelings without the weight of expectations. Paradoxically, your detachment can make them feel more drawn to you as they sense your calm confidence and self-assured energy. The law of detachment also works in your favor by helping you reclaim your power. When you're overly focused on someone else's actions or emotions, you give away your energy. You become reactive, basing your emotional state on external circumstances. Detachment brings your energy back to you. It reminds you that your happiness, peace, and worth are not dependent on anyone else. This self-reliance is incredibly attractive. It communicates that you are whole and complete on your own, which is a quality that naturally draws others toward you. Another way detachment benefits you is by shifting your perspective. When you let go of attachment, you allow yourself to see the bigger picture. You're no longer caught up in the minutiae of what someone said or did. Instead, you can step back and assess the situation with clarity. This broader view often reveals truths you couldn't see before, whether it's recognizing patterns in the relationship, understanding your own needs more clearly, or seeing the potential for growth and change in both yourself and the other person. Detachment also creates space for personal growth. By focusing on yourself instead of the other person, you invest in your own well-being and development. You begin to nurture your passions, explore your interests, and deepen your self-awareness. This growth not only benefits you, but also enhances your relationships. As you become more grounded and fulfilled, you bring a higher vibration into every interaction. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate self-assurance and purpose. At its core, the law of detachment is about trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust in the universe. It's about believing that what is meant for you will find its way to you without the need for force or control. This trust allows you to let go of fear and desperation, replacing them with confidence and peace. When you embody this state, you become a powerful attractor. Your energy shifts from one of lack and need to one of abundance and fulfillment. In relationships, this shift is transformative. By detaching, you give the other person the freedom to come to you willingly without pressure or coercion. You allow them to choose you not out of obligation or guilt, but out of genuine desire. This kind of connection is far more meaningful and lasting than one born from attachment or fear. Ultimately, the law of detachment works in your favor because it aligns you with your highest self. It reminds you that love, connection, and fulfillment are not things you have to chase or cling to. They are things that flow naturally when you are in alignment with your own inner peace. By letting go, you open the door for deeper connections, greater happiness, and a life that unfolds effortlessly, just as it is meant to. When someone who has distanced themselves from you observes you thriving without them, it triggers a profound reaction. The realization that your happiness, success, and growth are not dependent on their presence can shift their perspective in ways they never expected. This transformation is not just about what they see on the surface, but about what it reflects back to them: your strength, resilience, and unwavering ability to move forward. Thriving without someone is not about revenge or making them feel regret. It's about reclaiming your power and choosing to live your life fully, regardless of who chooses to walk alongside you. When you focus on your own journey, you naturally elevate your energy. You become more vibrant, more self-assured, and more aligned with your true potential. This energy is magnetic, and even from a distance, it is felt by those who once shared your life. For someone who has pulled away, seeing you thrive can be both surprising and unsettling. Often people who create distance do so under the assumption that their absence will leave a noticeable void in your life. They may believe that you'll struggle or wait for their return. But when they see you flourishing, whether it's through your career, personal growth, new relationships, or simply a renewed sense of joy, it challenges the narrative they've built in their mind. It forces them to confront the reality that your strength does not hinge on their presence. Thriving without them also highlights the qualities they may have overlooked or taken for granted. Perhaps they underestimated your resilience or failed to see the depth of your inner strength. Watching you move forward with confidence and purpose serves as a reminder of these qualities. It makes them question their assumptions and, in some cases, reevaluate their decisions. Your ability to thrive sends a clear message: you are not defined by their actions or choices. You are capable of building a fulfilling life on your own terms. The act of thriving doesn't mean you're unaffected by the loss or that you never felt pain. It means you chose to channel that pain into growth. You allowed yourself to heal, to learn, and to rise above the situation. This journey is deeply inspiring, not only to them, but to anyone who witnesses it. It shows that life doesn't stop when someone leaves. Instead, it opens the door to new possibilities and greater self-discovery. For the person who distanced themselves, your thriving can spark feelings of curiosity, admiration, and even regret. They may wonder how you managed to grow so much in their absence. They may begin to see you through a new lens, recognizing your independence and self-sufficiency. These realizations can be humbling as they are faced with the fact that their departure didn't diminish you, it strengthened you. In some cases, seeing you thrive may also highlight their own stagnation or struggles. It holds up a mirror to their life, showing them what they could be achieving if they embrace their own growth. This comparison is not something you orchestrate or intend, but it is a natural byproduct of your evolution. Your success becomes a silent invitation for them to reflect on their own choices and potential. Thriving without them also has a liberating effect on you. It reinforces your belief in your own capabilities and reminds you that your worth is intrinsic. You stop seeking external validation and begin to rely on the deep well of strength within you. This shift empowers you to set healthier boundaries, pursue your dreams unapologetically, and attract people who value and uplift you. Your growth becomes a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It shows that even in the face of loss or rejection, there is an opportunity to rise stronger and wiser. This journey is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about honoring yourself and the life you're meant to live. The ripple effects of this self-honoring extend far beyond your own experience, touching the lives of those around you and even those who walked away. Ultimately, thriving without someone is a declaration of self-love. It's a way of saying to yourself and the world, I am enough, I am capable, I am whole. This mindset is what allows you to move forward with grace and courage, unshaken by the actions or choices of others. Whether they choose to return, stay distant, or simply observe from afar, the power of your thriving remains yours alone. It is a reminder that your life is yours to shape, and you are more than capable of creating something extraordinary, regardless of who is or isn't by your side.